So let's welcome in ESPN injury analyst Stephania Bell to talk a little bit about Alex Smith. Why did this injury end up endangering his life?
Well, Alex developed what's called sepsis, which is basically a potentially life-threatening condition when the body is reacting to an infection. And I think what's important to know is the fracture, which you referenced earlier, was a compound fracture, meaning the bone comes through the skin. And that immediately elevates the risk of infection because you're basically introducing an open environment. And anything from that field or the socks or the sweats can transfer immediately there.
And I think people look at something like this and they say, well, is that something that was likely to happen in certain situations, or was something done wrong here? When you look at this, what do you see?
I think it was just an unfortunate consequence of that high risk with the open fracture. You know, immediately afterward, he's transported to the hospital and they do a clean out, they wash it out, you do everything you can to try and counter it. But these are microorganisms and sometimes they just have a way of rearing their heads.
Based on what you know of his situation, where do you feel like he is in his recovery?
He's actually leaps and bounds from where he was a year ago. You know, he's in the stage we call functional return to sport. He's doing high-level activity, conditioning, strength training. He's also doing sport-specific activity right now, football drills. You've seen him in these segments doing dropbacks and throws. I mean, he is preparing as if he is returning to football.
You know, he wants to play again, and obviously everybody out there is rooting for him. If you put a percentage on this, and I know you don't examine him directly, I know you don't see his chart, but if you put a percentage on what you think are his chances to come back and play, what do you think that would be?
Well, here's the thing, Ryan. In sports medicine, we prognosticate based on comps. What is the rate of return after this type of injury? And one of the things Alex has told me throughout this is the reason he wanted to do this story is that there is no one who has ever come back to a professional sport from this type of injury. And he really wanted to lay out the chart so that if somebody else were to follow in his footsteps, unfortunate as that might be, they would have a bit of a roadmap of someone to look to. And what I can say is, after watching where he's come from to where he is now, I would not put anything past him.
A couple seconds left. Is there something you see in him that makes it more possible for him than other people to do something that no one else has done?
I think it's his drive. He's incredibly competitive, and he's a quieter guy, so people might be surprised. You know, he doesn't put that out there, but he is incredibly driven and incredibly competitive. And everyone, including folks at the team, have told me that to a player, they've never dealt with someone who is more determined, works harder, or is more competitive.
Well, we are certainly rooting for him to come back, and not only that, come back to that great level that he was at. We're cheering for you. Stephania, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports, more analysis, download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+. We'll see you there.